Yeah, you may have heard that this actually happened this past week. The official account, the official Twitter account for the U.S. military command in charge of the nation's nuclear arsenal. Okay, that's a big deal. Well, on this Twitter account, they sent out this gibberish tweet. It was just a bunch of letters and a couple of semicolons. And so what did it mean? I mean, the internet went crazy. Is this a secret code? Is this a secret message? Had the account of the U.S. Strategic Command, which has its headquarters south of Omaha, the Air Force Base there, have they been hacked? No, it wasn't a hack. Apparently, someone was working from home and their toddler decided to also get some work done, which brings up a couple of issues. Why is this really important account accessible to a 2-year-old? Just saying. And maybe more importantly, why does the U.S. military command in charge of the nation's nuclear arsenal even need a Twitter account? I mean, are they going to give us some heads up to some nations that something bad is coming your way? Like at South Korea, watch out, at North Korea is after you and all of your souls. Yes, that's right. And it's great to know that the folks in Nuclear Missile Command, they don't lock their computers when they're away from them. That's pretty comforting, isn't it? Just a quick tip if you're listening to us there in Omaha, Nebraska, is that you want to use Windows key or Command L on your Mac to lock your desktop when you leave it. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital we can lend a hand to, because after all, this is the nation's premier, the largest, the greatest, the most trusted show about all things digital. It's called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
And you can catch the Kim Komando Show on 420 top stations throughout the United States. You can find us streaming on your favorite radio app, and also available as a podcast over at getkim.com. You can also hear us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 different countries and 200 ships at sea. And we salute each and every one of you. And as I mentioned, yes, I'm sure you have at least a few questions. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. All right, let's get this party started already with 5 things that you need to know about tech. It's happening right now. We're going to start with the various COVID vaccines. It's big business on the dark web. Of course, the dark web is a part of the internet that you don't regularly go to, and you probably shouldn't go to, and you need like specialized browser in order to get there. But cyber criminals are trafficking in fake vaccines and vaccinating certificates. Now, according to Checkpoint Research, it's growing with, 300%. And that's a spike in all the ads that are happening online and also on the dark web. Now, these fake CDC vaccination cards, they go for $200 a pop. And it's illegal to sell the fakes. You can also face some serious trouble if you actually buy one. But not too long from now, you may need proof that you've been vaccinated to travel, perhaps even to get a job. So how do you trust the proof? So that's why it's a really bad idea for you to hold up your vaccination cards on your social media. And I know everybody's all happy to get their vaccination. I know I was. When I had the first shot, I had the Pfizer shot, I never got the card. But the second shot, I made sure that I did get the card. And it shows you the date, the time, and the lot number of the vaccine. It can be easily forged. Oh, by the way, you can also buy fake negative test results sold as a package. Yeah, they're offering a deal there. Buy 2, get the 3rd free. Now, one of the great things about being a geek really into tech is that it's not likely that you're going to get COVID. Why? Because of nerd immunity. All right, number 2, Bitcoin is going prime time with PayPal. If you haven't heard, a few days ago, PayPal introduced a new feature allowing you to buy things at millions of online stores using cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin. It's been around for a couple of years. But here's the big deal is that PayPal lets you buy and sell crypto, and now you can actually make purchases from retailers using the new checkout with crypto. It's going to show up on your banking or credit card options. And you're going to need some form of cryptocurrency, and they support 4 kinds: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And when checking out, they're going to convert the currency with no additional transaction fees. They say it's going to be available over the next few months. And crypto is getting bigger. Now, once upon a time, back in 2018, Visa didn't think crypto was a big threat, but now they've got this whole new platform that they're announcing, and even Superman uses it. I mean, moves all of his investments to mutual funds at the end of each day. Why? He can't handle any kryptonite. Number 3, Bitcoin can be risky business. You know, you have to be really, really careful when you're dealing in Bitcoin. This is a cautionary tale. A guy was looking for an iPhone app to check his Bitcoin balance. Sure, he found one called Trezor, which just happens to be the company behind the hardware where his Bitcoin is stored. So he looks at it, looks like the real McCoy, he downloads it. He uses his credentials to log in, and it's only after he logs in that he realizes that this is a scam app. Oh my gosh. It took no time at all for $600,000 worth of Bitcoin to be stolen from him. Okay. Now, of course, Apple says, well, we didn't really know this was going on. I mean, originally it was an encryption app, and then the developer changed it to be bait and switch, basically. And so the bottom line here is that no matter what you do, whenever you download an app, whether it's from Apple or Google, before you put in any of your credentials and put your finances at risk, make sure it's totally legit. All right, let's move on to number 4, NFTs. Yes, you can make your own NFT, and now you can do it for free. What's an NFT? Non-fungible tokens. They're everywhere. People are making millions on one-of-the-kind digital works of art, photos, videos, even virtual houses. Yes, one sold for $500,000. A virtual house? I'll tell you, if this radio thing doesn't work out, I'm getting into NFTs. Now, a long time ago, artists and musicians would have to register their work with the U.S. Copyright Office. They'd have to prove ownership, which would have to be witnessed by somebody. But now all this happens digitally, where the blockchain authenticates or witnesses something original. So, as I mentioned, you can make one for free for yourself. There's an app called Sing, where the exclamation point is used in the place of the I. You just upload a file, can be an image, audio file, and then it's minted as an NFT. And heck, maybe you'll make some money on your NFT. I mean, maybe it's going to be an in-person auction. I mean, I love auctions. I was hooked going once and also maybe twice. Number 5, sometimes you can believe what you read on the internet. There's a pair of shoes that's going viral, and it looks like a pair of Nikes. And at first glance, you're like, I wonder what's going on with these shoes. There's a pentagram on the front of the laces, the number 666 on the side, and then there's a red accent on the sole of the shoe. The description says it's red ink mixed with a drop of real human blood. They're calling it the Satan shoe, since supposedly they only made 666 of these modified Nikes, and they cost over $1,000. So you may have seen this on the internet this past week and thought, oh my gosh, this has to be an April Fool's joke. Well, it's a collaboration between a rapper by the name of Little Nas X and a company called Mischief, and it's spelled MSCHF. And they're promoting this new video, which had nearly 70 million views on YouTube. And so Mischief's like sitting there going, I don't think Nike's gonna notice, do you? Well, it didn't take long for Nike to file a lawsuit over the unauthorized use of their work, saying they had nothing to do with these shoes. And then there was a restraining order, which means that the sales of the Satan shoes have halted. And while Mischief has tried to get the suit tossed, the judge has sided with Nike. And I'm thinking, after looking at all these numbers, I mean, these rappers are making big money selling things. I mean, maybe I should start a new career. What do you think? As a redneck rapper, I can call myself Little NASCAR. All right, a couple of things I want to pass along over at Komando.com. You can go to myaccount.google.com and you log in, and we got all the steps on how you do this, but you can actually see what Google thinks about you and how they personalize ads. And you can switch off the ad personalization settings at the top of that page, by the way. Just be sure to click Advanced, where you can prevent Google from using that data from other sites. And again, you can head over to Komando.com. Look for our report, how to see everything Google tracks about you and erase it. It's over at the link for your convenience right now over at Kim's Show. And speaking of Google, they have a new app that's an experimental app that they call it, called Stack, not Slack, Stack. Now, in addition to scanning your documents, AI is built in that will analyze your documents that you scan and also categorize them. So you take a photo of a document and then you assign it to a specific stack based on a category. And right now it only works on Android. But if you have an iPhone, you also don't need a separate app to scan your documents. Just use the Notes app that's pre-installed with it. Over at Komando.com, we've got a lot of information about how to use the iPhone Notes app. And also we have a link to this Stack app from Google. But speaking of Google, if you use Meet for your video calls like we do, the deadline that would have been imposed, an hour time limit on free accounts, has again been extended. It was set to expire on March 31st, but now the 60-minute time limit will not be reinstated until September 30th. So keep in mind, that's just for Google Meet. It doesn't apply to Google Vegetables. Candace in Redding, California. Hello there, Candace.
Hi there. My husband loves your show, and he suggested that I call in and ask my question.
Awesome. We'll tell him thank you for that.
I will. I was thinking about getting my son a cell phone for his 8th grade graduation, but he keeps looking at inappropriate content. Like he got caught just recently on a Chromebook, where I got a call from the principal. So I'm thinking about it. He really wants an iPhone if I do it, but I've heard that Android is better for apps like Bark, that it doesn't work as well for iPhone. So I just wanted to know if you had any suggestions for good parental apps for iPhones.
Yeah, you're in a precarious position, aren't you? I mean,
yes, I am. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure I'm going to get him a cell phone now. So
I know,
but it would be good. I need to know where he's at when he's going different places. So it would be very helpful, but can't trust him.
Well, because the hormones are going crazy. You know that.
Yes, I know it.
And
I know.
And everything is just a click away. It used to be that we would look in National Geographic magazines.
Exactly, or Playboy, and
yes,
it's on the web.
And it's worse because it's on the web. It's a lot more.
Yes, it is. It's terrible.
So
it's terrible.
Here's the thing. Let's just talk mom to mom for a second, okay? What kind of phone do you have?
I personally use an Android. I use the Samsung, whatever the latest one was, S20.
And then your husband, is he iPhone or Android?
Android.
Okay,
We've always just used Android because we're used to it.
Okay, so he's getting an Android. Okay, that's number one, because you have it and your husband has it, and you'll know how to open up his phone and manipulate the screens and things like that. So an iPhone is out of the question. Okay, that's the first thing. As far as the apps working better on Android, there is some truth to that, because Apple locks things down and they don't want people to get into their settings. So you have apps like Bark and Casidio. And let me tell you, he's a smart young man.
Yes.
He will figure out a way around them. He will. I mean, just let's assume that to be the case. Whatever you put on that phone, he's going to figure out a way around it, because there are instructions on the internet on how to get around the parental apps. Okay.
He was using DuckDuckGo.
Oh, perfect.
Which is, I guess, an incognito.
Incognito search. And then there's also private pages in incognito mode. There's also Tor browser there are so many ways that if somebody wanted to get around this, that they can. And he's not a little boy anymore. He's going to figure these things out. Okay. So those, let me tell you, this is, when my son was 13, this is how I approached it. Okay. I sat him down. I said, this is a phone. It's a privilege. It's not a rite of passage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The phone belongs to me. It doesn't belong to you. Okay. So what that means is that I'm the administrator on the phone, and you get to be the guest on the phone. I have every password to anything that you're going to use. At any given moment, I'm going to ask you for your phone, and then I'm going to go through the entire phone. And I don't need you to say, it's not my phone, it's my privacy. You have no privacy. You only have privacy when you're 18 and you move out and you pay your own bills. That's when you have privacy.
Yes.
Okay. And the first instance that I see anything on this phone, anything, the phone goes away. And that's the bottom line. Okay. When you get home from school, I used to have a box in the kitchen, a key box. When you come home from school, the phone goes in the key box. You know why? Because I'm going to go through the phone if I want to. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But that's the time I'm going to go through it. And also, I can pick it up at any other time if I want. I'm just telling you, you're not going to have your phone when you're supposed to be doing your homework.
Yes, I like that.
Okay. So it was tough love. Okay. Did I find things on there? Of course I did.
Mm-hmm.
But as I explained to Ian, is that I need you to be a responsible, self-sufficient adult, and I don't want you to go crazy with freedom when I give it to you. So that's why when he was 16, would you like to have a glass of wine? Okay. When all of his friends were out partying, you know what? He still to this day, he doesn't party. He's like, I don't know what the big deal is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that said, if that works and if that feels right for you, you're giving him autonomy, independence, but you're also being the parental figure. And you're telling him what's right and what's wrong. And the first time I see something, whether it's sexting, porn sites, inappropriate websites, whatever, and just lay it out. Just lay it out. We're not mincing any words here. He already knows about the birds and the bees. I mean, he knows about everything.
Yes, he does.
Okay. So, okay. So let's just say this is where it is. And the reason why I don't want you to go to those websites is because once you see those things, you cannot unsee them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we've talked about a lot about addiction. It's an addiction.
Yes.
It can become an addiction.
Correct. Okay. You're doing the right thing. Okay. But I'm not saying no. Again, I opted to do it this way because I knew and I know that they can get around every single thing that you put on there. Okay. Now, that said, if there is an issue or if you wanted to do this, there's a program called Mspy. You put that on the kid's phone, you'll see exactly every single thing that he does. When he does it, you get full logs. You'll have all of his passwords. You'll have anything that that kid does on that phone.
That sounds wonderful.
So maybe what you do, now that I think about it, I think I did do the both. First, I gave it to him, then and then when I took it back, I put on Mspy. Because he, as I said, you failed the test. But there is a point where it's easier for you as a parent to give the kid a phone. I totally get that because we're going to pick you up, where are you going to be, and and whatever.
Yeah, and he's going to have to walk a ways every day. So
yes, okay. And when you and I were growing up, we used to ride our bikes around the neighborhood and not think of Lester the child molester. But let's face it, those are not
right.
Okay, those days are long gone. Okay, so does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does, because I do want him, it would be much easier for him to have his own cell phone. But I have not been able to trust him lately. So I like the idea of Mspy. I think that sounds wonderful.
Okay, well then if you can't trust him, then maybe it's not time for the phone.
I know. I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean...
And he's a very remorseful, I'm so sorry, Mom. I know better. This has been so hard. So he's feeling like I need to actually
then you gotta trust him.
Looking at what he's doing more.
Okay.
Right. I want to trust him. He's a good kid, but he is having issues with it.
Okay, so you know what? If he doesn't have any issues with it, then put it on and tell him it's there, and I'm going to look at anything that I want to any single time. And and if I see anything, the phone's gone. The phone, and by the way, you can't erase your history. And by the way, you can't use DuckDuckGo or incognito mode or private mode or anything, because I still will see every single thing. And
yes, I like that.
And then he'll be like, "Oh no."
I like that. I know. And I think he kind of wants that in a way, because he told me, he goes, I just can't. He goes, I want you to look at my history on the school Chromebook. And I go, well, I don't need to do that because the principal called.
Sorry, buddy. You already got beat to the punch. That is so funny. That is so funny. All right, this week's Digital Life Hacks tip has some step-by-step instructions, just telling you right off. And it's about changing your DNS, your domain name system, so that you can get a faster connection. Because when your ISP assigns you your DNS automatically, it can open up a set of issues. Systems can be slow, inefficient, and then slowing down your internet speed. So we have a list of the best internet DNS servers you can try, like OpenDNS, Google, Quad9, Cloudflare. And then we're going to tell you the step-by-steps exactly how to switch your DNS on Windows and also on your Mac. And so in case you're slowing down, you're wondering how you can speed up that connection, maybe you don't need to buy any more bandwidth. Maybe you just need to change your DNS, and it's absolutely for free. So head over to Komando.com and hit that link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come this hour, we've got some news about a fake Android update that's really malware. And of course, we have more of your great phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. A podcast that we just released, I interviewed Marty Cooper. We're actually going to be playing part of the podcast in hour 3 if you're going to be hanging with us. And Marty is amazing. He's the father of the cell phone. He's 93 years old. He's sharp as a tack, and he's so funny. And then this past week, I went to the mailbox, checked the mail, and then I have a box in the mailbox from Marty Cooper addressed to my mother. Okay. And Marty sent my mom a signed book, which was just so sweet. And in there, he said, heard you worked for Bell Labs, love them, hated AT&T. Hope you enjoy my book. So wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn, you name it, over at Komando.com/podcast. If there's one thing that you listen to over the next couple of days, it's this podcast, Kim Komando Explains. We talk about the first cell phone, where the cell phones are headed, smartphones, we should say. And again, that's Kim Komando Explains, wherever you get your podcasts. Tim in Austin, Texas. Hello there, Tim.
Well, hello there. Pleasure to speak with you after all these years of listening.
Oh, well, thank you. How can I help you?
So, I have an old hard drive from the very first computer that I ever had, and I believe it was an old Acer. It's a 20 megabyte hard drive.
Oh, no.
And it was, I know, I got it.
Wait, a 20 megabyte hard drive? Wow.
Back in the day.
It has to be what? Is that like 25, 30 years ago?
It was 1990, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
31 years ago.
Okay, so you've been holding on to this hard drive for the last 30 years?
I have, ma'am, yes. So what I did was, once I upgraded my computer, I gave that one to my father, and I showed him how to use the word processor on there, and he really got into it. So he wrote down his memoir, as it were.
Oh,
and I wanted to retrieve that data so that I could, give it to the family.
That is so cool. That is so great. Now, hopefully you stored the hard drive in a nice, cool, dry place, right?
It's never been out of the house.
All right, excellent. All right. There's this little gadget that you can get, a little power adapter, and I'm going to send you a link to it. It's on Amazon. It's not very expensive. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this hard drive, and it's going to be turned into kind of a pseudo USB drive.
Okay.
And so from today's computer today's computer that you bought how many years ago? Just wondering. When did you buy this computer?
The one that I have now, I just bought it this year.
Oh, okay. I was hoping, because if you were going to say this one that I have now is 25 years old.
Nothing of the sort.
I'm going to say, all right, Tim, it's time to clean out your closet, get rid of the polyester suits. Time to get rid of all the old stained underwear and the old shoes.
Oh, gosh. So you know exactly how old I am, don't you?
Okay, so it's time to we're just going to clean out the whole shebango. So basically, right. it's a USB to IDE cable, because that's an old hard drive, obviously, an IDE hard drive. And I'll post a link to it over in the Q&A forum. And then I'll send you a link via email, Tim. And do me a favor, when you get the stuff off, can you let me know if it worked?
Sure, I will.
Yeah, send me a quick email back, because I want to know, how the data looked like, and also what exactly did you find on that hard drive? I mean, it's really amazing when you think about it that 30 years ago, here's your dad writing all these memoirs, and wouldn't it be amazing what kind of stories that you might be able to find there? Thank you so much for your call. What a great call. Hey, thanks for watching a past episode of my national radio show. That's why it's called The Kim Komando Show Rewind. Now, to get the entire show, all 3 hours, when it airs live, or you can get on demand, head over to getkim.com and you can become a member of the Komando community. There are a ton of perks. Aside from just the show, you get free ebooks, a place to get answers to your tech questions, and more of me. So come on, what are you waiting for? Click that link right now and become a member. And thank you.